Hi everyone and welcome back to the multiverse of 100 plus data science project series. In this video, we're going to be building on project based on generative AI. The project name is Mental Health Support Chatbot. The chatbot gives you instruction while you are in depressed mode, while you are in sad mode. Let's have a look at our diagram and the plan of attack that how can you creating these applications. So first we have one web interface, and inside this web interface we have a chatbot as well as one input text box where user can ask a questions, and based on these questions our large language model generates some answers. So in the LangChain part, this is having one LLM model, also called the large language model. So we're going to be using here the Groq cloud for that. Inside Groq cloud, we can access the Llama model from here. By default, you're going to be using the Llama model in here. And then we need to actually using here one document. You can say document file upload. And inside this document file upload, you're going to be using here the PDF file. And then this PDF file should be converted into some kind of chunk because our LLM model has some certain level of token. So we need to convert them into some kind of chunk. That's called split into some kind of chunk of the size. So for that, you're going to be using this character text splitter. And after that, you can passing this inside the embedding. You can using the Hugging Face embedding or the OpenAI embedding. We're going to using the Hugging Face embedding here. And after that, you're going to pass in this inside and vector store database. You're going to using the ChromaDB. You can also using the DB. And after that, you're going to pass in this data inside the retrieval QA so that we can create the chain for that, and our LLM can generate the answer based on the question that is asked by the user. So that is nothing but our planned attack. Now what I can do, we simply going to start this tutorial right now. But before that, share this video with your friend, subscribe our YouTube channel. So in order to access the large language model, you're going to using here the Groq cloud. Using Groq cloud, you can access the Llama model as well. So this is the interface, how it look like. Just you need to go on the Groq cloud and create one account on that. So this is the playground. So we can type here some kind of message. Let's say, what is Python? Let's say, what is Python? And then I'm going to press this submit button. And then it will give you the quick response based on this Llama 3 model. Python is a high-level interpreted programming language that is widely used for various purposes such as web development, scientific computing, data analysis, artificial intelligence, and more. Okay, so it was created in the late of 190 as Guido Bandrasam. Okay, so this is how this Groq cloud give me the response in quick. How quick it will give the response. And if I go inside its documentations, you can read about the documentations, and inside the model section you can see here which kind of model are available on here. That's called in the production side. You're going to be using here this Llama 3.3 70 versatile. It's nothing but from the Meta. You can also using here this from the Hugging Face or the Google itself, and you can go on the matrices. If I go on the matrices, then you can see matrices that how I am using here Groq cloud. Okay, and if I go in this API key sections, and we can see here one API key. So I can just click on create API key, and after that I can give it, to giving here one name, and after that the API key should be created. And then you can simply using this API key to access the large language model, I mean Llama model. Now let's go on the slide and try to understand our problem, try to understand our plan of attack, that how can we creating the applications. Let's use the API that is copied from the Groq cloud. So for that, I'm going to using here the LangChain Groq. So let's start installing this library. Let's say pip install LangChain underscore Groq and shift enter. You can also using this button as well. Now you can see collecting this LangChain Groq. So LangChain is nothing but one kind of framework. Using this one, you can building the Gen-AI project. I mean, you can access the large language model just like Llama or Gemini. Any kind of model you can access them. So I am simply going to using here my API token. So for that, I need to also importing here the chat Groq from the LangChain Groq. So let's say from LangChain, okay, Lang LangChain underscore Groq. I'm going to importing here the chat Groq. Okay, let's say chat Groq. Now using this chat Groq, we're simply going to accessing here our all the data, I mean all of our large language model. So we're going to accessing here the Llama 3.3 17 billion, the versatile model. So I'm going to using this chat Groq, let's say chat Groq, and then inside that I need to giving here the temperature. So let's say temperature is nothing but 0. Then I'm going to giving here Groq API key. So it should be the Groq API underscore key. Then I'm going to pasting here the API key. Okay. So that's the API key. Well, I'm going to pass it here, and then I am simply going to give here the model name. Let's say model underscore name. Don't use the API key because I am going to delete this out in the Groq Cloud API. So let's say llama, then 3.3, then 17 billion. Then I'm going to using here versatile. That's our model. Now let us store it inside a variable called llama, or let's say LLM. Okay, and then using this LLM, I'm simply going to invoke it. Let's say LLM dot invoke, and then I am inside that I'm going to giving here a question. Let's say uh, who is, let's say, lot ram. Okay, let's say lot ram. Okay, so now let's store it inside a variable called result. Let's say result, and I'm going to print it the content of the result. Let's try to print here result dot content, and now it will accessing this data using this API key as well. Lord Ram is a major deity in Hinduism and is considered one of the most important figure in Hindu mythology. He is in seventh avatar uh, incarnations of God Vishnu, and is rebirth as a symbol of righteous duty and the virtue. Okay, so this is about the Lord Rama. Okay, so now what I can do, I am simply going to creating here our mental health chatbot in our plan of attack. So what I can do, first we simply going to initialize here our LLMs, and after that we simply store it inside the ChromaDB vector store, I mean vector store database. For this case we're using here the ChromaDB, and then we're going to pass in this data inside our splitter, text splitter. So which one making the text in kind of chunk. So for this case, you're going to using here a PDF file for the from the research kit. I mean, you're going to using here a paper, and then after that, you're simply going to pass it to our Hugging Face embedding, and the Hugging Face embedding is try to creating the embedding for that, and after that, you simply going to pass it to inside the prompt template, and after that, we simply going to call it a chain, create a chain using the LLMs. Okay, now we're simply going to importing some of the important library just like OS, because you need to also importing here the data from that, but it's not needed at all. You can just giving here the absolute path as well. So let's start importing here. Let's say LangChain dot embedding. Let's say embedding, and then I'm going to using here the Hugging Face embedding. Let's say Hugging Face embedding. So let's say Hugging Face embeddings, and then I'm going to importing here the ChromaDB. Okay, so let's say import it. Let's say from LangChain. Okay, LangChain dot document underscore loader, and then from here I am simply going to importing here the py-pdf loader. Let's say py-pdf loader, and also I'm going to importing here the directory loader. Let's say directory, and then I'm going to using here the loader. Okay, that's it, this one. So why this py-pdf? Because I'm going to using here an PDF file, so that's why you're going to using here this py-pdf. But before that, it's also installing here the py-pdf as well as on here using the pip command. Let's say pip install. Yeah, it's available inside the LangChain, but the problem is when you're going to using this one to give you the error. Make sure that your py-pdf is installed in your system. So let's say py-pdf. You can also use it. Use this application in the local your local machine, because I don't have much amount of GPU, even though some of the libraries deprecated in me. So that's why I'm going to using the Google Colab. Okay, because it's free to use. Now after that, what I can do, I am simply going to importing here the ChromaDB. So let's say from LangChain. Okay, LangChain, you can import just like ChromaDB that we used in our first projects, end-to-end Gen-AI projects. So this is the another technique to use in LangChain, to use the vector restore from the LangChain and try to use the ChromaDB. Okay, so let's say vector restore. So because in the LangChain already vector restores are available as a Chroma format. So from vector restore, you're going to importing here the Chroma. Okay, now you import the ChromaDB. Now after that, what I can do, we simply going to use the retrieval QA, I mean questions from the LangChain chains. Okay, using this one, you can ask the questions to the chatbot, right? So now let's say from LangChain dot chain, because you need to create the chains, right? And import the retrieve, which one retrieval the okay, that's with retrieval QA. Okay, this one retrieval QA, and after that we're simply going to using here the prompt template. So let's say from LangChain dot prompts, and then I'm going to importing here the prompt tablet. थोड़ा पानी पी लेते हैं. Okay, then I'm going to importing here the prompt tablet. So let's say prompt template. ओके नॉट टेम्पलेट है ओके ठंडा की मौसम चल रही है ना इसलिए आवाज बंद हो गया ओके देन आफ्टर दैट फ्रॉम द LangChain okay from LangChain dot text splitter because it also split the text into chunk so that's why I'm using this text splitter and I'm going to importing here the recursive character splitter okay character text splitter so I'm going to use importing those library and that you're going to use it on here तो हम क्या क्या यूज़ किया यहाँ पर तो हमने हागिंग फेस एम्बेडिंग को यूज़ किया यहाँ पर एम्बेडिंग के लिए इसके बाद हम यहाँ पर पाई PDF लोडर यूज़ किया है इसके बाद उसको भी इंस्टॉल किया है क्योंकि इसको भी इंस्टॉल करना पड़ेगा आपको कहाँ से डॉक्यूमेंट लोडर से इसके बाद हमने बैक्टीरिया स्टोर को भी इंपोर्ट किया ChromaDB है ChromaDB इज नथिंग बट वन काइंड ऑफ NoSQL डेटाबेस और इसके बाद है हम चेन भी इंपोर्ट किया है रिट्रीवर क्यू है बिकॉज हमको इक्वेशन आंसर चैटबॉट बनाना है इसलिए इसके बाद हमने भी प्रॉम्प्ट टेम्पलेट यूज़ किया है क्योंकि कौन से प्रॉम्प्ट में हमको काम करना है क्योंकि हमको मेंटल हेल्थ चैटबॉट में काम करना है इसके लिए मुझे भी प्रॉम्प्ट टेम्पलेट भी रेडी करना पड़ेगा जो मैं पास करूंगा क्या किसका अंदर एल के अंदर इसके बाद क्या किया हमको जो टेक्स्ट है ना जो आ रहे हैं डॉक्यूमेंट लोडर की मदद से पाई PDF लोडर में तो उसको हमको चांक करना पड़ेगा थोड़ा चांक में करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि हमारा जो LLM मॉडल है ना वो इतना टोकेंस नहीं ले पाते हैं देखो मेरा जो मैक्स कैपेसिटी है वो लेट से 6000 तो हमारा LLM है ना वो 6000 कैपेसिटी ले पाएगा इसके लिए इसको मुझे क्या करना पड़ेगा उसको थोड़ा चांक में डिवाइड करना पड़ेगा तो मेमोरी कम एलोकेट हो गया हिंदी में आपको समझ दिया मैंने now what I can do is simply going to initialize here the LLMs so let's say def initialize LLM so just it's simply going to creating here functions for that so you can copy this out just copy this out and then I'm going to pass it here okay and now we can simply go to returning here the LLM we don't need to invoke it here because we're just using this LLM now we have our last language model now what I can do is simply define a functions which can help us to actually creating here the vector stored data so let's say def create let's say vector DB just to simply going to simplify this all the things in kind of a method so that you can easily access them just calling this method name now we're simply using the loader and inside that we're going to pass in here our directory loader because we need to also import the data from our directory now let's try to upload it inside a folder let's try to create a folder called let's say a data and inside this folder I'm going to pasting here my PDF file so let's click on here and click on upload then I'm going to selecting here the PDF file I'm going to click on open and click on OK because it's give me some warning okay and then inside this directory loader I mean this directory you can give multiple number of PDF file so just we passed here one PDF file so I'm going to copy the path okay I don't need to copy the path on here so because I'm using the directory loader it will automatically go inside this directory called data so I need to copy this path copy path and inside this folder so what I can do this directory loader go inside this folder and then using this globe you know about the globe right using this globe it will searching for the PDF the extension is nothing but the PDF dot PDF sorry not PDF dot PDF it will taking all of the files from this folder okay then into giving here the loader class so let's say loader class CLS is nothing but my py PDF loader okay py PDF loader that's mean using the directory loader we're simply going to collecting all of the data from this data folder using glob and here we have .pdf extension if any file having the .pdf extension it will collecting all of the files from here and using the loader class is nothing but the py PDF loader मतलब क्या है देखो डायरेक्टरी लोडर ने डायरेक्टरी के अंदर जो फोल्डर है डेटा है सॉरी डेटा के अंदर जो फाइल्स है उसको स्टार्ट करेगा उसको ले आएगा किधर पे यहाँ पर ले आएगा सो एक्सटेंशन क्या होना चाहिए पाई PDF में .pdf होना चाहिए सॉरी .pdf देखो आप अगेन बताता हूँ आपको फर्स्ट क्या करेगा डायरेक्टरी लोडर के मदद से डायरेक्टरी के अंदर से फाइल लेके आएगा तो ग्लोब ने क्या करेगा ग्लोब चेक करेगा इसका एक्सटेंशन PDF है और नहीं पीडीएफ होगा तो सीधा यहाँ से ले आएगा, बस डॉट पीडीएफ। इसके बाद लोडर क्लास ने क्या किएगा, उसको एक्सट्रैक्ट करेगा किसका मदद से, पाई पीडीएफ लोडर की मदद से। उसके बाद दिस पीडीएफ डेटा इज कन्वर्टेड इनटू सम काइंड ऑफ टेक्सटुअल डेटा, टेक्सटुअल डेटा में हो जाएगा। इसके बाद क्या कर सकते हैं, हम चंक पे कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं, चंक जो स्प्लिट है ना वो स्प्लिट कर सकते हैं, राइट। Okay, we can do it easily. And now it's simply using the loader dot, let's say loader dot load. Okay, then I'm going to using here, let's say variable called documents. मुझे छोटा फूटा हिंदी आता है तो इसलिए मैं actually यहाँ पर बोल रहा हूँ. Okay, then what I can do is simply going to using here the recursive character text splitter, because we have our document right now. It's lengthy document. Now we need to divide them into some kind of chunks so that we can pass it to the embedding, as well as you can pass it to inside our LLMs, because our max token may be 6,000. The LLMs have, the Llama model have. So now we're simply going to using the recursive character text splitter. Now inside that I'm going to giving it the chunk size. So let's say give chunk size, let's say 500, and then let's say chunk overlap. If you face any voice issue, comment down, because मेरा voice आज बहुत खराब है. Okay, so chunk overlap is 50. Now let's store into a variable called text splitter. Let's say text splitter. Now what I can do is simply split the document using this text splitter. Now initialize here our recursive character text splitter in the from of objects. Now we can using the text splitter dot, okay, dot split document. Let's say split documents, and inside that we can pass in here our documents. Okay, these documents. Now let's store in the variable called text. That's our text, right? Now we simply going to pass in this data inside the Hugging Face embedding. Okay, so let's say to pass it out. So I'm going to make it, let's say embedding equal to Hugging Face embedding. Okay, let's say Hugging Face embedding, this one embedding, and inside that I can pass in the model name. Let's say model underscore name is nothing but sentence. Okay, this is the Hugging Face model. You can go on the Hugging Face and you can checking this one. That's called transformer of all mini LM L6B2. देखो, you can go on the Hugging Face and you can also searching for this one sentence transformers all mini LM L6B2. I'll give the link in the description. You can go on here checking this out. Again, sentence transformer all mini LML6B2. Now our embedding is ready right now. Now what I can do, we simply going to use this embedding and pass it to our ChromaDB. Okay, so further it also install the ChromaDB, right? So let's install it here. Let's say pip install ChromaDB. Okay, it install the ChromaDB in our Google Colab. Then after that, what I can do, you can use in this chroma on here. Let's say chroma, okay, dot from documents, and then inside that you can pass in here the text and the embedding, and then you can do, we're going to pass in here our persist directory. So yeah, it is installing. So persist directory. Now the question is, why the persist directory, sir? If you see my previous video using just ChromaDB, in Gen-AI projects, we using here the client, just ChromaDB.client. So client is means it is storing the data in your actual memory, in your ticks. But this one is storing in the temporary memory. That means when you're running this application, it will just creating the folder on that. But when you're actually creating here in your own local memory, okay, in your memory, it is storing it for the permanent. That's mean this parses is nothing but call, it will storing the data, just nothing called the temporary in your local where you're working on, in your environment where you're working on. So let's using here persist. So it should be persist. You can see persist. It should be the directory, right? Okay, let's say directory. So persist directory. Now inside this persist directory, we're simply passing here our directory name. Let's say ChromaDB, Chroma underscore DB. That's it. Now our ChromaDB is ready. Let using here a variable called vector DB. Now inside this vector DB, we simply going to use the persist. Let's say vector vector underscore DB. Sorry, by किधर पे ना persist again problem dot persist. Okay, now our data is created. Now let's try to printing it out. Let's say print. Let's say chroma chroma db. Let's say created and data set. Now we can simply go into return here. Oh, return here the vector store. That's a vector db. Now let's turn it down and checking this out. We can access it or not. Any problem? So module LangChain community embedding not found. Please install the LangChain community to access the module. You can install it using this command. Okay, to also install the LangChain community because this embedding is stored inside the LangChain community. As well as one more thing, it is installing the LangChain core as well. So we can installing it in the first line. Okay, let's try to install it for the first line. So let's say LangChain underscore core and LangChain underscore community. Okay, community, and just shift enter. Okay, I do it in the breaking down because we are not using directly the LangChain core or not using it directly to the LangChain community. So that's why I just running this shell so that you can see that which kind of error we got. Okay, now in installing all the requirement, now we can simply go into using this one, and now you can see here it actually uh, executed. Now if I am trying to call in these functions, then you can see one thing, it will taking time because it will loading this data from this stepper. So what actually happening inside that? Okay, again an error. Please install it. People install sentence transformer. Why? Because we also using here the sentence transformer as well. In here, if you see that, you can see we're using here the sentence. Okay, sentence transformers all this one. So not only also installing this one. I just uh, give you. I just running it out so that you can avoid about the error. What kind of error we can got. So to giving here one exclamation sign. Don't need to also put it down, and it will install in the sentence transformers on here. Okay, cool. It will install in this library. Now we can simply going to run in this one, and then I am simply going to run this out, this vector data. Now let's see what kind of error we got again. Okay, is there any library is left? Yeah, it will taking time as well because it will collecting the data from this PDF file, and as well as it will apply here the chunk, I mean our text splitter, and then it is passing to this embedding, and then it will creating a store it inside the ChromaDB. Okay, so let's waiting for. Okay, it's okay having some problem on here. I see that. Okay, again, it's Hugging Face embedding, not Hugging Face BGE embedding. You can use any kind of embedding on. Let's try to using this one and see what kind of error we got. Yeah, it's loaded, and you can see here ChromaDB created and data saved. You can use the Hugging Face embedding as well, just without using this BC. I don't know what is the BC. Let's using this one and see this one that it is really working or not. Okay, now it's yes, it's created the data store inside the databases. Now let's try to using here df. I mean creating here another directory which one help us to set up the QA chain, because yeah, we simply going to creating here our ChromaDB. We simply going to start in the data. We simply using the embedding, but now we need to also create in the chain. Using chain, we can access, we can retrieve the data from our LLMs with our ChromaDB. Now let's using the setup. Let's say QA chain. QA chain. Let's try to delete in this because not needed at all. Chain. Now inside that you need to pass in here my vector data. Let's say vector DB, and then my LLMs. So this chain is nothing but using and retriever from the vector DB. Let's say vector DB dot retriever. Okay, retriever retriever, and from the vector.db we have the retriever. Now let us store a variable called retriever. Let's say retriever. Okay. Now we have our data in the retriever format. Now we can pass in here one prompt template. So let's say prompt, let's say template. And that I'm going to give it to the prompt template on here. Let's try to paste it here that I copied. Here you go. Now let's paste here the prompt that we copied. And then I'm going to deleting this one because we're just needing the 3. Okay. So you are the compassionate mental health chatbot. Response truthfully to the following questions. You have the context and you have the questions which one is asked by the user. Simple prompt template. Okay. Because we're giving all of the data in our ChromaDB as well. Now we're simply going to pass in this inside the prompt template. So let's say prompt. Okay, should be the capital. Let's say prompt template. We simply we already import it, and then inside that you can passing here the templates. Let's say templates, and inside that we're passing here the prompt template. Let's say prompt template that we created. Okay, that is prompt template, and then inside that you're passing here the input variable. Okay, input variables, and inside that what you have, we have the context. That's our context, and then our questions. So then our questions. So let's pass it here. Questions. Okay, so that's our prompt template is ready. Now let's make it inside a variable called, let's say, prompt, and then after that we simply going to create the chain for that. Okay, let's say qa chain, qa underscore chain, and inside that you can using here the retrieval qa. Okay, that we actually using it here, and then from then chain type, and inside that you can passing here our llm. That's a llm. Then we can passing here the chain type. So chain type is nothing but a stop, because this is nothing but on a stop. Okay, let's say stop. Then we're simply going to passing here the retrieval. So let's say retriever. Okay, retriever is nothing but the retriever. Okay, and then after that we're simply going to passing here our chain type. Okay, let's say chain type qr. So chain type wargs. Okay, and then inside that you can passing here our prompt. Let's say prompt, and then we need to have in our prompt. Okay, because based on this argument we're simply going to creating one prompt template, and it's simply to pass it to our keywise chain. Now we need to returning this chain. Okay, let's try to returning here the QA chain. Okay, let's give one brief actually overview using Hindi language. So in here, right? So okay, so what I can do is simply going to using here directory loader. हम यहाँ पर डायरेक्टरी लोडर की यूज़ किया है. इसका मदद से हम डेटा के अंदर जो पीडीएफ फाइल है उसको ग्रुप की मदद से उसको यहाँ से ले आया हमारा कोडिंग पे. इसके बाद पाई पीडीएफ लोडर की मदद से उसको टेक्स्ट में कन्वर्ट कर दिया. ओके, इसके बाद हमने लोडर लोड किया, वो डॉक्यूमेंट चलाया. इसके बाद हमने इनिशियलाइज किया रिकर्सिव कैरेक्टर टेक्स्ट स्प्लिटर. उसके अंदर हमने कुछ चंक साइज दिया, उसके बाद चंक ओवरलैप भी दिया यहाँ पर. तो उसके बाद यूजिंग टेक्स्ट स्प्लिटर, इसका स्प्लिटर के मदद से हम इस डॉक्यूमेंट को जो यहाँ पर है उस डॉक्यूमेंट को कुछ चंक में डिवाइड कर दिया. उसके बाद हमने क्या किया, उस डेटा को एक एम्बेडिंग में पास किया. इसके लिए हम हागिंग फेस BGE एम्बेडिंग को यूज किया है यहाँ पर. तो उसका अंदर एक मॉडल है जो आप डिस्क्रिप्शन में आपको मिल जाएगा, सेंटेंस ट्रांसफॉर्मर ऑल मिंगी LM L6B2 करके. तो उसको हम यूज किया यहाँ पर. इसके बाद उस एम्बेडिंग को सीधा पास कर दिया ChromaDB के अंदर. ChromaDB के अंदर पास कर दिया. सो ChromaDB क्या किया, उसके अंदर टेक्स्ट और एम्बेडिंग को एक साथ लिया. इसके बाद हमने एक पर्सिस्ट डायरेक्टरी क्रिएट किया है ChromaDB भर के. देखो यहाँ पर आपको मिल जाएगा ChromaDB. सो इस इंटरनल यूजिंग है SQLite 3 को यूज करते हैं. इसके बाद हमने यहाँ पर पर्सिस्ट यूज किया है क्योंकि हमको जो वर्क डायरेक्टरी में हम काम कर रहे हैं उसका अंदर जस्ट क्रिएट हो जाए. ओके, इसके बाद हम यहाँ पर एक स्टेटमेंट दिया है ChromaDB क्रिएटेड बोल के. इसके बाद हम सेटअप QA चेन को यूज किया है जो एक वेक्टर डेटा बेस लेगा. इसके बाद LLMs लेगा, लार्ज लैंग्वेज मॉडल. इसके बाद हमने क्या किया, जो डेटा स्टोर यहाँ पर आ रहे हैं उसको हमने रिट्रीव किया रिट्रीवर की मदद से। इसके बाद हमने एक प्रॉम्प्ट टेम्पलेट यहाँ पर असाइन किया। इसके बाद उसको प्रॉम्प्ट टेम्पलेट के अंदर में हम उसको असाइन कर दिया टेम्पलेट के अंदर। इसके बाद इनपुट वेरिएबल हमारे पास 2 है, 2 इनपुट वेरिएबल है, कॉन्टेक्स्ट है, इसके बाद क्वेश्चन है। इसके बाद रिट्रीवल क्यूए की मदद से हम इसको एलएम से साथ जोड़ा है, चेन क्रिएट किया है, चेन। इसके बाद चेन क्रिएट करने के बाद हमको यहाँ पर रिट्रीवर भी पास कर दिया। इसके बाद हमारा प्रॉम्प्ट भी यहाँ पर पास कर दिया। सो जो हमारा चेन है, तो हमारा चेन तो अब कंप्लीट हो गया ना। व्हाट आई कैन डू, we simply going to testing this out. So for that, we simply going to creating here a method called the main method. Well, so now let's creating here our main method. So let's try to creating here a functions called main, and inside that we're simply going to giving here one statement. Let's say initializing chatbot. Okay, chatbot, we can make it capital. So let's say initializing chatbot, and then we're simply going to calling our lm. Let's say lm equal to initialize lms. Okay, and after that our lm is ready right now. Now let's try to creating here a path for the vector store. Let's say db path, and inside that I'm going to copy the path for the ChromaDB that is created on here. Copy the path, and after that I'm going to pass it here. Now we're checking that if the db path is available or not. If it's not available, we need to creating this one. So let's say if not, okay, if not os dot path dot exist. Now you can see, sir, it is already created. You can see it's created, but why? Because in the previous time we actually calling this method. We calling this method in the previous. So that's why it's created. That's why created. Now when we creating this one, we are not calling yet. Okay, so that's why we need to checking this db path is available or not. It's available or not. इसका मतलब क्या है, देखो भाई हमने क्या किया, फर्स्ट टाइम इसको रन किया है। जब इसको रन किया है, इसको तो ऑटोमेटिक क्रिएट हो जाएगा, इसका ऑटोमेटिक क्रिएट हो जाएगा ना बस। तो क्रिएट तो हो चुका है, लेकिन देखो फर्स्ट टाइम तुम इसको रन कर रहे हो, फर्स्ट टाइम रन कर, तो आपको तो चेक करना पड़ेगा इस डेटाबेस क्रिएट हुआ है और नहीं, तो देखो क्रिएट तो अब नहीं हुआ, तो इसको चेक करना पड़ेगा। तो क्रिएट नहीं हुआ तो क्या करना पड़ेगा, क्रिएट तो करना पड़ेगा बस। So what I can do, we can using here vector db. Let's say vector db is equal to create db. Okay, create underscore vector db that we created on here. Okay, now it is created. Now let's say it's already created. In this scenario, it's already created. So what I can do, you need to use the same thing. That's called this Hugging Face embedding and the vector store. So you can copy this out, and then after that I am going to paste it here in the else block. That's our embedding. Now we need to using the vector store. That's the vector db. It's nothing but which one, we can using here the chroma, and inside that you can just passing here the persist directory. We simply going to give in the persist directory, and that's our db path, because it's already created. So that it's not going to duplicate this one because it already created, right? And then inside that you need to give in the embedding functions. हिंदी में समझता था आपको embedding function is nothing but the embedding. देखो भाई सीधा बात बताओ आपको क्या ना, हमने फर्स्ट टाइम दिस क्रिएट वेक्टर डेटाबेस को रन किया है, इसका बाद वो क्रिएट हो चुका है। लेकिन देखो मैं आप यहाँ पर फर्स्ट टाइम आए हो, फर्स्ट टाइम इसको रन कर रहे हो, तो फर्स्ट टाइम जब रन करेंगे तो आपको चेक करना पड़ेगा जो ChromaDB यहाँ पर है और नहीं। जो अब नहीं है, मतलब नहीं है, फर्स्ट टाइम आपको चला रहे हो नहीं है, इसका मतलब क्या होने करना पड़ेगा, आपको क्रिएट वेक्टर डेटाबेस को कॉल करना पड़ेगा यहाँ पर। तो वो क्या करेगा, वेक्टर डीबी को क्रिएट कर देगा। अब देखो हमने तो गलती से इसको रन कर दिया, फर्स्ट टाइम रन कर दिया, गलती से रन कर दिया, तो क्या करेंगे, जब रन ही हो गया तो हमको तो क्रिएट तो भी नहीं करना पड़ेगा, लेकिन क्रिएट तो नहीं करेंगे, लेकिन हमको तो इस वेरिएबल को चाहिए, इस वेक्टर डेटाबेस को तो चाहिए। तो क्या करेंगे, हम जो डेटाबेस ऑलरेडी क्रिएट हो चुका है तो उसका ऊपर हम इस पाथ को दे देंगे, इस डीबी पाथ को दे देंगे। तो देखो यहाँ पर हगिंग फेस एम्बेडिंग क्रिएट किया है, जस्ट यहाँ पर पाथ दिया है, हम यहाँ पर टेक्स्ट भी नहीं दिया है, यहाँ पर भी हम डॉक्यूमेंट भी पास नहीं किया है। देखो यहाँ पर टेक्स्ट भी पास किया, यहाँ पर एम्बेडिंग भी पास किया, लेकिन यहाँ पर हम जस्ट पार्सिस डायरेक्टरी और एम्बेडिंग को फंक्शन की मदद से यहाँ पर पास कर दिया। कुछ भी नहीं यहाँ पर, कुछ भी नहीं, हमको डायरेक्टरी भी नहीं देना पड़ा, ये ऑलरेडी क्रिएट हो चुका है बस। नाउ वी simply going to using here this chain to creating our applications, I mean creating our chatbot. So we can using here the QA chain. So let's start using it out. So QA underscore chain. Okay, it should be underscore. And then we simply calling this one. Let's set up Q chain. Q chain, and inside that what I can do is simply passing here two things because it's taking the vector DB and the large language model. Now let's pass it down. Let's say vector underscore DB and the LLMs. Now our chain is ready. Now we can simply go into creating here one while loop, and after that you can testing this out. So let's try to print let's say while true, and inside that we can taking one query from the user. Let's say query is equal to input. So and inside that we can passing here, let's say backslash and let's say human, or you can say like that as a user also. Okay, let's making it human. And then after that, let's say we're simply going to if the query is nothing but consisting of the exit, so that you can exit this one because it also break this loop. So let's say lower is equal to exit, and then we're simply going to printing here one statement. Let's say print, let's say chatbot, let's say take care, let's say take care of yourself, goodbye, goodbye. Now what I can do is simply can also giving him our break statement. Let's say break, and then after that you can give it him the response using this QA chain. So QA chain, okay, dot run, and inside that you can pass in here our query, and that's our responses. Okay, let's say response, and then I'm going to give it here one print statement. Let's say print, and then I'm going to give it here f string, and let's say chatbot, and we're passing here the response. That's a response. Okay, now I need to call in this main method. So I'm using it if underscore name underscore main, and then I'm going to calling this method here. That's the main method. Now to running this application, I mean running this code on here, and then we can giving here some kind of text on here. Okay, missing one argument called the path. So vector db, create vector db. Okay, path. Okay, it should be the os path. We need to also giving here the db path on inside that. And now let's try to enter it again. Okay, chroma object has no attribute called retriever, so it is coming from here. Okay, this vector db called retriever. Here you go. Okay, any problem on here? Vector db is nothing but our vector db, this one. So it's on inside our chat setup, so it should be retriever. So retriever, but why? We create the vectors to right, we create the vectors to simply passing this vector stored inside our setup queue chain. Okay, setup queue chain, and we passing this vector db and our LMs, but it don't have any method called the retriever. Okay, it's as retriever. Okay, that's why this problem is the as retriever. Now you can see initializing chatbot. So let's say hello, and then it will give me response. You can say hello, it's lovely to connect with you. I see you have been reading about mental health, especially about how it's defined and the importance of considering the social and the physical environment that influence our well-being. So let's say I am so depressed, what should I do? Okay, Sorry for that. Actually, battery का charge खत्म हो गया. So let's giving here another prompt. So let's say I am so depressed. I am so depressed. Okay. Then it will give me some kind of response. I'm so sorry to hear that you are feeling depressed, and it's take a lot of courage to acknowledge and express your emotions. And I'm here to listen and support you. Okay. So let's say my girlfriend. I don't have girlfriend at all. My girlfriend break up with me. Break up with me. Let's see what kind of advice I got from here. And then you can find the sorry to hear that you are going through a tough time. Breakups can be really painful and affected us in many ways. It's completely normal to feel sad, angry, or confused after a breakup. Okay. And if I press here the exit, let's say exit, sorry, then you can see here it will exit from here. Okay. Now what I can do, I am simply going to copy this out, uh, and I'm going to copy this out because I'm going to creating here an Gradio interface that you can see earlier. So I am simply going to go on here, and I'm going to using here. Okay, actually network is gone, so that's why I need to connect it again. Now what I need to do, I need to actually creating here the applications that you see there earlier. So for that, I'm going to using here the Gradio library. So let's say using here pip command. Let's say pip install Gradio, because you need to also installing this one, and shift enter, and it will installing this library. So you can see requirement already satisfied. So now what I can do, I am simply going to copy this code from here, and then I have to do some changes on that. So I am simply going to paste it here first, and also I'm going to importing here the Gradio as a ZR. So let's say import Gradio as ZR, and then I am simply going to removing this main method because I don't need it right now, and then I can removing this one. Okay, and try to store in the bacteria stores and the embedding as well, and as well as finalize the chain. Okay, this setup chain, and then I'm going to removing this all of the code from here. Now after that, what I can do, I am simply going to creating here a function which can help me to give the response using our Gradle library. I mean, it will interface, create the interface, chat interface, and this chat interface is actually interconnected with these functions that you're going to be creating on here. So let's say def chat. Okay, it's a chatbot. Let's say response. Okay, response, and which one taking one user input, which one is taken by the user. So let's say user input. Then after that, I can give it here one history, so that we can also save the history in the form of list. Okay, so we need to giving here one equal sign, and then inside that, we're simply going to taking the input from the users. So now what I can do, if we don't have any data inside our user input, that's when user not just giving any data inside our text boxes. So what I can do is simply return here a message that's called please provide a valid input. So if not user input, user underscore input dot strip, and inside that we're going to return here one text. Let's say please provide. Let's say please. Let's say please provide a valid input. Okay, if the input text is just empty, just you clicking on the send button, so you can print the history as well. Okay, then what I can do after that, if we got some input from the user text box, so I can simply going to create the response, and we can using here the QA chain that we created on here. You can see QA chain, and using QA chain we can actually access our large language model that we created. Let's say user input, and then we pass in the user input. Now we got some responses, and as well as we're simply going to store it inside our history. Okay, that history dot append with the user data. So with the user input data, let's say user input, and as well as we need to adding here the response, because we need to also show the history of the chat, right? And after that, we're simply going to returning here. Okay, return here our one blank text. Okay, with the history. Well, now after that, what I can do, we're simply going to creating the block for that. So for the Gradio block, so you can using it with there dot block, and inside there I'm going to giving here one theme. Let's say theme is equal to, let's say this is the predefined theme. You can go on the Gradio website and you can find it inside the theme documentation. So it's nothing but the Raspberry, it's the Raspberry, and then we can pass in here, let's say Shiki, tricky, and then at the rate of 1.2.1. That's the version I'm going to use it here. Let's say as app. That's as app. And after that, I'm going to creating here the chatbot. Let's say chatbot. And inside that, I'm going to using here gr dot chat interface. Okay, chat interface. And inside that, I'm going to passing the functions that we created. It's called chat response. Okay, I mean chatbot response. Let's say chatbot under the response. And then inside that, I'm going to give it here title. So let's say title is nothing but called mental health chatbot. Okay, so we can make it here. Let's say mental health chatbot, and then I am simply going to returning this chatbot that you created, and we can simply going to launch our application. There's app.launch. Now we're simply going to running this out. It's so super simple. You can also adding here some markdown, or you can adding some interface as well as on here. Now you can see here it will actually give me one link. Now I can click this link and it will opening here our applications, our new application that we created earlier. Well, so our chatbot is open, mental health chatbot. So let's giving here, let's say hello. And if I clicking on here, then you can see it is typing something on here. Okay, it's giving me some kind of error message. Why? Let's see. Okay, this problem actually happening just because on here, because we creating here the queue chain, but not using the run method. Okay, now I need to run it again. And then it will initialize the chatbot again. Yeah, it's my old mistake, because if I go up, then you can see we're using here this method called q underscore chain dot run. Okay, you can also testing it on here the interface, or you can also just clicking on this link, and in just 72 hours it is in live. You can access it through your mobile phone as well. Okay, so this is our chatbot. Now let's give it here, let's say hello, and now let's click on here. Now let's see what kind of response I got. And you can see here it gave me some kind of response. Hello, it's lovely to connect with you. I see you have been reading about the mental health, especially about how it's defined and the importance of considering the social and the physical environments that influence our well-being. So let's say I am so depressed. Let's say I am so depressed. Then it will give me one response as well. And then you can see, yes, I am so sorry to hear that you're feeling depressed. It's take a lot of courage to acknowledge and share your emotions, and I am here to listen and support you. Okay, see how cool actually give me the response, and it will how cool it support me. Okay, in this moment. And now let's adding here something. Let's say, what are some technique? Let's say technique to technique for uh, let's say stress relief. Okay, and I can click on here. Okay, relief. Okay, relief is not okay, so we can to using here e on here. Okay, relief, and then we can press on here the send button, and then we can got some thing. I hope so. Okay, it will give me the response. Okay, you can see I am glad you are looking for ways to manage stress. It's completely normal to experience stress, and there are many effective techniques that can be helped. Before we dive into those, I want to acknowledge this take a lot of courage to recognize Hoyan किधर गया yes, Hoyan we need help managing our stress level, and he gave me some kind of technique called deep breathing exercise, and the physical activities, the mindfulness meditations, the journaling, the grounding technique, the social support, the self-care, the time management, the seek professional help. Okay, quite good. And our chatbot really working very fine. You can also design this chatbot. You can adding here some kind of markdown on here. Okay, so let's try to adding here markdown. Well, I'm just going to add here some markdown that's called mental health chatbot with having one brain icon and the robot icon, as well as I add here one text and the chatbot interface and the markdown. So I can simply going to running this out right now, just for making it cool. That's it, and nothing else. Okay. Now it will run in these applications. Now I can clicking on this link, and after that it will opening these applications live for 72 hours. So You can see this is how the application actually working and how it actually designed using the Gradio library. Also, you can use the Flux or the Streamlit as well if you are using the local machines. So well, that's our chatbot right now. You can see every time when actually creating these applications or creating this kind of Gen AI video, every time the internet connections got disconnected. I don't know why. Mental health chatbot. You can see here with icons and having one subtitle and having one main title for the mental health chatbot. So now let's try to type in here one text on here for the last time. So let's say what are some uh, technique to remove depression, okay, or stress from the relief from the depressions, okay. We can see that some kind of technique. Okay, I'm so glad you are taking the first step towards seeking help and exploring technique to manage depression, and it having some technique list of technique, uh, coordination behavioral therapy, this mindfulness based stress reduction exercise, and the social support, self care, sleep hygiene, yeah, and the nutrition and the diet, the journaling, and this one, all kind of technique it actually give you and try to support you. Okay, let's give it here another one. Let's say my girlfriend break up with me, break up with me, mm, and he broke my heart into some peach, even though I don't have the girlfriend. So let's type it on here and try to check in here right now. किधर गया भाई, किधर किधर इधर. I am sorry to hear that you are going through a tough time with after breakup. It's completely normal to feel heartbroken and overwhelmed with the emotions. Breakups can be one of the most painful experiences we can face, and it's okay to acknowledge and the validate your feeling. And it just having some text on that. So this is how this chatbot is created. It will help you to give the relief from your mental health, and that's why this chatbot name is called Mental Health Chatbot, which will support you in the time of depression, your tough time. Okay, so that's it for today now, and hope you enjoy this full tutorial and as well as enjoy this series that's I created, the multiverse of 100 plus data science projects. So I hope you guys share me, I mean, not share me. I hope you guys support me. You guys share the videos with your friend, even your girlfriend, boyfriend. And thank you and subscribe to our YouTube channel.